Okay, so now that you're back, you should have Playmaker installed. So first up, what I've done is I've exported the character as an FBX. You guys should be familiar with that. Whenever you select your mesh, you'll also find that you have a series of different settings. What you need to do for the people that have developed a biped character, change the animation from, I think it defaults to generic. You might need to change that to humanoid, so that'll just basically give it 2 arms, 2 legs, hit apply, and then all we're going to do is drag and drop that into the hierarchy. I'm just going to make a few quick changes. I'm just going to obviously drop it down so he's making contact with the floor a little bit better. You can see here as well I've made the Playmaker docked, just to make you aware that you obviously can dock different panels, break them off as well, so you can have it floating. But then if you wanted to snap it back down, there we go. I've just don't think that quite snapped. There we go. So all I'm going to do is right click to add finite state machine. FSM is just basically finite state machine. I'm just going to select straight away idle, and I'm going to create a new state, which is then going to be movement. This tutorial will be quite lengthy, so I'd recommend that you take note. Add transition. What I want to do is, rather than just having a finished transition, I'm just going to create different events. So this is going to be to movement, and this is going to be to idle, to run, and to jump. So what I want to do is we want to right click, add transition to movement, just drag and drop that on there, create that first link, right click, add transition to idle. I'm just going to send this back. So we've created our first little loop. So now what we need to do is we just need to create our first little set of controls. So to do this, what we need to do, action browser, and what we're going to do is get axis vector. It's already selected there. So this is basically going to get the horizontal and the vertical input from the keyboard. So in this case, WSAND. I'm going to store this vector into a new vector. It's already set up there, movement vector. Just type it in. It'll create its own variable. We're going to store the magnitude as well, which is basically the user input. Store that into this vector here. And then what we're going to do, action browser, controller, simple move. You might need to just make sure that you typed all out, but this is the option that you're looking for. Controller simple move, double tap, or tap, or just drag and drop it even. And you see you get this little kind of error warning there. Game object requires a character controller component. Click to add the requested or required component. Click on it, just where the red text is. Move vector, set this to movement vector. And very quickly, if we go to play, we should see our character. My machine's lagging a little bit. We can see there some very basic movement, and interestingly it's decided to remove Playmaker from the dock. Edit, there we go, it's back now. So what I need to do is access, let's just quickly copy these up and paste them. It seems to duplicate it. Hopefully you won't have that problem. All you do is just delete any extra sort of nodes that get dropped on there. So this is the sort of first stage of it. So simple smooth look at direction. I'm just going to add this. Keep vertical speed, set this to 30 so it's quite quick. Target direction, it's going to be the movement vector because we always want it to be looking at where we're inputting. I'm just going to paste that in there. And then the next element that I'm going to create is a float variable. So float compare. So there we go, first option, float compare. It mightn't be the first option for you, but this is what we're looking for, float compare. It's literally in logic and just down there. So what I want to do is compare different float values, and what we're going to do is we're going to compare the magnitude. I'm going to compare it to 0.1. It's basically, so as soon as there's any user input, it's going to, if it's over 0.1, it's going to perform an action. Make sure that you tick every frame, hit greater than to movement. See there, it's now not little exclamation mark. It always seems to duplicate when I just copy. So what I need to do now, so magnitude, whenever it's less than, so I need to get rid of this. So whenever it's less than, go back to idle. So this is basically what we're going to do. So we're going to create these states. So for idle, so let's just hit play, see what we get. We should be able to still see this visible just under here. So what I might need to do is, I just want to be able to visualize this. So there we go. I just want to see, as soon as I press the keys on the keyboard, I want to be able to see that. Quite annoying. I might have to slide that a little over. Playmaker editor. Just close that. It's quite annoying. Playmaker editor. Well, just so that you can see what's happening. So if I hit play, you can see there I'm pressing keys on the keyboard. It's a little bit laggy, the machine, but you can see there when I'm stopping pressing, it's moving, pressing, movement, stopping. So this is working okay. I'm just going to dock this back down again. Cool. And then I'm just going to drop this just there. So we've got this back. This is working. So this is our basic movement. It's sort of toggling between user input, no user input. The next thing we need to create is an animation controller, because at the moment there isn't any animation on there. You can see here we've got animator. So it's basically a rigged character, and this rigged character is going to be driven by this animation controller. So within the project panel, right click, create animator controller. I'm just going to call this Duncan controller, and I'm going to double tap. So the first thing, this is the mechanim side of Unity. So what I'm going to do, this is going to be on the base layer, and I'm going to create a new parameter. This is going to be a float parameter, magnitude. I'm going to right click, create state, empty, and this is going to be idle. Just name this idle. I want to create a new blend tree. So all I did there was right click, create state from new blend tree. So what this is going to do, this is going to be slightly different, because what I want to do is go from idle to like a sort of slow, small stepped walk, to then a sort of more fully paced walk, and then after that we'll then go into runs, and then jumps, different animations. So what I need to do is I need to create a transition from the idle to this blend tree, which I'll rename to walk. So what I'm going to do is right click, make transition. We're going to make this transition up to here. Right click, make transition back to idle, so going from idle to walk. And this little arrow here to get from idle to walk, see this little option here has exit time. We need to untick this, both directions. Basically what that means is we can exit that like whenever this sort of user condition is being met. So the condition being magnitude, if it's greater than 0.1, it's going to move into walk. So basically whenever we're pressing on the keys, it's going to move from idle into walk, and then when we're not pressing the keys, it's then going to go back to idle. So 0.1. On this little idle node here, you can see here we've got a motion tab. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop in some animation. You guys, you would have created your own idle animations. So what I'm going to do though, I'm going to select an idle animation from the motion capture selection. You can see here if I just hit this little play icon here, I can pull up some sort of samples. You see a little preview window here, quite useful. So I can see that's pretty decent there. Let's select idle. You can see that it looks like a little play symbol. Let's just grab this little play icon here, and we're just going to drop that on there. There we go, that's that done. So let's just hit play, see what we get. Nothing at the moment. Our character's still moving around. Click on Duncan. What we need to do is we need to go to character, select the character, and this animation controller, we've created the animation controller, but we need to assign the animation controller. So now just drop that on there, and we should see that the first thing that it's going to do is it's going to go with the idle animation. So rather than the arms being down by the side, he's now within the idle animation. I do need to add in the walk animation and that transition to that, and he's fallen off the world. So I'm just going to make this world a little bit bigger, and what you'll definitely have to do is make some adjustments to your character controller. So I'm just going to move this so you can see it a little bit more. So character controller is basically this cylinder shape here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to up this, you can see there how it's sliding up through the character. I want this to be, the bottom of it is effectively where the feet are, this is where the top of his head is. That's pretty decent. I'm going to adjust the radius so he's not quite as round. So now what should happen is the base of that should be where his feet are, and the top of it roughly where his head is. I can make a few more adjustments there, but that's pretty okay. Right, so the next thing that I'm going to do is double tap the walk. Remember, it's a blend tree, so if you create a blend tree, it's effectively blending between different animations. So what we need to do is just drag this down. The parameter, it's a blend type, one-dimensional blend type. You've got different options. I'm just going to use one-dimensional for the time being. So we're going to import, add a motion field. We're going to add two motion fields, and one of those is going to be kind of tiptoeing animation and a fully fledged walk animation. So there's going to be a little bit of change that I'm going to make to the UI a little bit here. You guys have already created loopable animations. I'm using motion capture work, which aren't already pre-looping. I might have to edit them slightly. So walk forward, let's just make this a little bit bigger so we can see. You can see it's paused. If I scrub through, he's paused, and then it sort of walks back. So we need to trim this down a little bit. So I need to make this into like a loopable animation. So what I need to do is I'm going to break this off the dock just so that we can see it a little bit better here. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this edit, top right hand corner, and you can see there we'll go to animation, edit, and it brings up all these attributes of this current animation that we're working on. So this is the timeline of this animation. Start frame, end frame. We're going to make it a loop. I'm going to loop the pause. So if we were to hit play now, what it will try to do, it will try to automate a blend between the first frame and the last frame, in this case the first frame and the last frame. And you can see it's giving us some sort of strange results. So what we need to do is we need to sort of trim this timeline down. You can see here, really useful. If I just scroll this down so you can see you've got this little graph. When I'm scrubbing along the timeline there, you've got this useful little graph here, and also this green and red light sort of system here that tells us when and where it's creating a useful loop. I'm just scrubbing through that, and you can spin the camera around these previews. That looks like it's looping okay. So what we need to do though is let's have a little look at frame 1. His foot is making contact. His front foot is planted on the floor. His back foot. Let's see what we get when we play this. This should be. So there we go. That's how you would go about looping these animations. So loop time, take that on. Loop pause, take that on. That's fine. I can live with that. That's not a problem. And then all you do is just slide right the way down to apply. It's going to apply this animation. If I didn't, it wouldn't be a loopable, seamless animation. So that was for the walk forward. What I need to do is back in this blending tree. We need to come back to this double tap. and what I need to do is I'm going to revert back to factory default. Yep. Double tap, animator, walk, tap on there, and then you can see we've got this back to our motion tab, assets, character, character, raw motion capture, animations, walking, and we need to find which it is that we've trimmed. I think it was this one. Yeah, it was that one. So we've got walk forward, so blend tree, walk forward, drop this in there. I'm going to turn off automate thresholds because we want to be able to adjust them. Basically, when the magnitude's at full, we want to be walking fully. When it's not quite full, so like say 0.3, we want to maybe to be small steps, like tiptoeing, not quite tiptoeing forward, but like there, small steps. So again, we need to edit this animation. So if we go back into this little panel here, edit, scroll down. Yeah, just looking for that loop time and loop pause. Let's just scrub through on the timeline. So about here, let's just, there we go, we're just going to scrub through here. Okay, I'm fine with that, hit apply. And then back to this blend tree, this empty motion tab, we'll just drop this into there. So now if we hit play, this red slider here, we can kind of blend between the two. You can see there, if I select this, I'm blending between walking at full speed and just tiptoeing forward. And you can see it's got this, yeah, it's like a little bit of an awkward kind of thing, which we'll look to iron out a little later. So you can see you can blend between the two different animations though. That's kind of what I'm getting at. Right, so let's go back, walk. What we need to do now is the parameter, we've got magnitude. What we need to do, let's go back to scene, and what we need to do is hit play, see what happens. What will likely happen is the idle animation just kicks in because at the minute it's not able to transition between the idle animation and the walk animation. It looks like he's kind of on ice, but it looks kind of cool. So I'm just gonna stop that there. Let's just click back on the Duncan. We need to go back to edit. So idle. What we need to do is we need to get access to these animators. I'm just going to dock this little window down here. Actually, yeah, that's okay there. So I'm just going to, we need to get access to this animator. So basically this transition to get from idle to walking, it needs to be over 0.1. If you remember these conditions, over the magnitude 0.1, we need to just access that the kind of blend between the two. So how we do that is by going action browser, animator, set, float, hit return or enter. And what we need to do is the parameter, type in magnitude, value 0, because we want it to be playing the idle animation. And then what we want to do here is copy this, paste this. Always copies 2 over, annoyingly. Set this to 1. Let's see what we get now. So when we hit play, what we should be getting is, when there's no input, let's just select Duncan so that, there we go. So no input, he's idling. See there, he's walking now. There we go. He's idling, he's walking. He's idling, he's walking. He's idling, he's walking. It's a bit linear, so there's like a little bit of an obvious kind of pop. But that's what we'll look to create and adjust in the next video. So he's just walking with the different keys there. So WSAND. The next thing what we'll do is we'll look to add in a run animation. So we'll transition from the movement to a run animation. we'll try to smoothen out this that like pop to idle. It seems to be a little bit aggressive there, so it could just be a case of adjusting one of the values. And the next stage we'll be taking it from movement, holding down a key, that'll trigger a run animation, maybe pressing another key will trigger them climbing, and that's basically the process that we'll use moving forward. Okay, so if you have any questions, just fire us an email or comment in the video, that's fine. But yeah, that's basically what we're going to be doing, and that's the sort of process involved in that. So have a little bit of fun with your characters. You know, there are a number of steps involved to get your character to this stage, but that's effectively the process involved in getting the functional behavior there. Okay, I'll see you in the next video.